Today's show is sponsored by our friends at OrcaCoolers.com. From roto-molded coolers that keep your ice good for days. They have drinkware like the barrel, the football barrel, the shorty, the stein, the teeny, the vino. They have chasers. They have coffee campers and travelers. All sorts of stuff. It's going to keep your drinks cold or hot. You're going to have coolers that will keep ice for days, and they're bear-proof. Go to OrcaCoolers.com/bourbon for 15% off your order. That's OrcaCoolers.com/bourbon. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at Old Limestone Mixing Water. It is the mixing water of Kentucky bourbon. We are firm believers here at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Drink however you want to drink. You want ice in it? Put ice in it. You want to put some water in it? Put water in it. And if you're going to put water in it, use water that was filtered through limestone in an aquifer that's 130 feet under the ground. Old Limestone's unique Kentucky limestone aquifer produces a rich, velvety, smooth water with hints of calcium and magnesium, which amplify flavors. Yet with no iron at all, you can make bourbon anywhere you want, but 95% of it is made in Kentucky because the water is special. Use Old Limestone water to mix. Take the taste test. Pour a bourbon neat. Sip it. Now add Old Limestone, swirl it, and sip again. Check out Old Limestone at oldlimestone.com, or they're available at a store near you or online. What you got for me, Zeke Baker?
So I've got an update on the hot toddy.
What's your update on the hot toddy?
So, it's that time of year, weather here's helter-skelter, 70 degrees one day, 40 the next. We've all had allergies and, battling the bullshit and whatever. So I didn't have any honey, didn't even have any rum, but I had a hell of a sore throat. But I did have some of the Taconic double maple syrup. So in lieu of honey, I just used that, with basically boiling ass hot water, stir it in so it, dissipates real well, put a little whiskey on top of that. Not going to say it didn't do the trick. Not going to say it might not have been a little bit sweeter too. I don't know. I might have to change my recommendation for the official hot toddy that I go with as a pharmacist and whatnot.
So you think you're moving to maple syrup over honey?
I think the barrel-aged maple syrup obviously resonated well with whiskey, so it just synergized.
A, I could have bet money that you were going to say synergize about something. And B, this is a big deal. I mean, and you're kind of like highfalutin. It's not just honey. It's not like, oh yeah, I could just have honey. It's like, no, it's got to be barrel-aged maple syrup, and it needs to be aged in the barrel at least 1 year.
Hey, I didn't say 1 year, but we both know that barrel-aged maple syrup is legit.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards. With me, as always, is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your day. Zeke, how are you, my friend?
Can't complain. Another beautiful weekend here in Nashville, Tennessee is come and gone. Got to see some friends and whatnot. There was a mini Wolfpack reunion, minus your portion.
I didn't even get invited, but I did have some family that was in town Saturday night, so I couldn't go. You were like, I'm meeting up with Tom and Benton, and I'm like, oh, well, thanks for the invite. But I had a family member come in, and we all went out to dinner, so I was out anyway.
It was a good time. That's all I got to say.
Hey, that's good. I'm glad you had fun. You busted out your apron this weekend. You busted out your Baker's Mark apron. I was very surprised to get that text of a picture of you in just an apron, and I felt like I needed to, in solidarity, post one alongside you, and we could see who wore it better.
Well, I mean, it was the first time I've cooked anything in a considerable minute.
Wait, you cooked those empanadas? I thought you ordered them.
No!
You actually cooked those?
Yeah, dog.
Man, you don't cook me empanadas.
That's why I had on the apron. I was cooking. There was work getting put in. I mean, it was a team effort, but, I felt like as good as, Ryan and Gia and the Makers folks have always been to us. Might as well throw them some props for keeping us covered in swag, whether it be a shacket or a pullover or an extremely very nice, heavyweight chef's apron that Lord knows when else I would ever use. So I was like, all right, this is my one chance.
Oh, no, that's a legit apron. It's denim and leather. It's great. And then Megan immediately posted on Facebook, once he saw the picture of us, he said, I regret giving you both those aprons. So
it's just because he wasn't here to see it.
yeah, Ryan, next time we will bust those out in person and we'll let you see Zeke in all his glory. Zeke looks like a saggy old man. Like, it's really tough. That picture, man. We got to get you going to the Y more than twice a week.
There wasn't anything under it, man. I was doing the best I could.
Oh, man. Nobody, I'm going to stop this conversation before it goes down a road that nobody wants it to go down. And today we are drinking K.LUKE Whiskey. So this is a bourbon whiskey. Both of them are blends. Sorry, there's a blended barrel strength that's 119.1 proof. It's a batch number 2. And there is also a 100 proof batch number 2, and it's blended. Both of them are high and low rye mash bills blended together. This is actually Jonathan Maisano. There's a liquor store in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, Maisano's Fine Wine and Spirits, and they're down there. They've been picking barrels forever, and I actually had a Weller Antique from them from a few years ago that was really good. Eventually, Jonathan was like, you know what? Let's just do our own brand. So K.LUKE started in 2021. They have had a few different releases so far. So they've had batch 1, batch 2 of the barrel strength. They had a small batch, a barrel strength, a toasted barrel rye, and then batch 2 it's 720 bottles of barrel strength, and then the 100 proof is 852 bottles. And then batch 3 is coming soon in 2023. They actually just got released in Tennessee. So Jonathan's actually going to be up here this week because K.LUKE, you can now get it in Tennessee. This is pretty much all I know. There's not a whole lot of other information. It says distilled in Kentucky and Indiana. That's all the information I have. I know on the sample bottles, Zeke, it says it was distilled in Kentucky and Indiana. So this is a mixture of probably MGP and something else. Don't know what the something else is, but which one do you want to go with first? Do you have any questions? You want to do the 100 proof first, or you want to do the barrel strength first?
I am fine either way, although going to be a big week for Tennessee in the market. I would feel like if they're here, Penelope folks are going to be in town this week. Taconic's making the rounds this week. So anyone that's out hitting up stores and whatnot, you ought to have a fair chance at meeting some really good people and getting some free pours and some promo type stuff.
It's like being on a Disney cruise. There's a character everywhere. Zeke found that very, very funny. But Zeke, start with the 100 proof. Tell me what you thought.
100 proofer. I thought this thing was very, very creamy. It's sweet. It has a very good and oak balance to it, and I thought it had a very solid, peppery aspect on the finish, front to back. I thought this was pretty complete and a pretty good example of what you would want in mingling a small batch product.
Totally agree with you on the creaminess. Didn't have too much spice. I hate to use the word because everybody's gonna get triggered, but it is a smooth sipper. It does not drink 100 proof. It really just is an easygoing pour, very well balanced. The creaminess, it's got a great mouthfeel to it, not too much spice. It's just a good sipper, and what I don't know about this that I would say is that the problem I have, I don't know what the prices are for this one, but if this is in an affordable price range, this is a quality sipper. But at 852 bottles, I'm not assuming that this is going to be like a $30 bottle here. So I don't know if I'd have one all the time, but I think it's a very, very good pour. And I can't assume because it makes an ass out of you and me, but I just, as far as this whiskey goes, very good whiskey.
Yeah, to me, it's something that more or less the masses could enjoy as a neat pour.
100%.
Tough to find these days. Everybody kind of wants to doctor it, do this and that, kind of put a little water in here, kind of get a little ice. We all have our preferences. But to me, this one, I think most people is just a neat pour and blend. Yeah, man, cool. I like it. Good job. Thanks.
100%, right? And please, everybody, don't mistake our just kind of yeah, it's good for anything. It's really good. It's just, we don't come across this too much where it's man, that's just a solid sipper that.
Yeah,
you could just have neat.
You seemingly pour for a room full of people, neat, especially, even bourbon nerds or whatever, or novices, and say, what, this isn't going to piss anybody off. Is everybody going to love it? No, because nothing ever will. But for a neat pour in a group of 20 people, I'd be happy to pass this bottle around and say, nah, you don't need anything, man. It's good.
What am I going to bring to a party that's going to make everybody happy? Nobody's going to leave upset. All right.
Spot on.
Let's move on to the barrel strength. What do you think about that one, bud?
So for this one, it definitely has more pop to it. And especially when it hits the tongue, it it comes at you fast. There's more alcohol, but there's also this big flash of what I thought was somewhere like cherry vanilla-ish. I mean, I definitely got some kind of cherry aspect into it that I thought was pretty unique. But then oddly enough, and maybe it's just because the front has so much pop to it, but it doesn't have the feel of the 100 proofer or the back end. I wouldn't say complexity, but it just doesn't seem as complete to me as the 100 proof did, going front to back, and the different flavors I picked up, the whole, mouth perception thing there. There was much, much more flavor on the front. And again, that cherry thing that hits real quick, you're like, whoa, that is good. But then by the mid, I already hit the road and moved on elsewhere. I don't know where it goes. It just disappeared.
The funny thing here, oh man, I needed that. The funny thing here is that the nose, I totally get the cherry and vanilla on the nose and the taste. I know I've mentioned this before and you kind of think I'm weird for it, but like I can kind of tell when a whiskey is going to be creamy based off the nose, like in how the nose hits you. And I 100% felt like this was going to be a creamy pour, just like the 100 proof. Like I was expecting that mouthfeel. And it was there for the first half of the pour, where the creaminess is on like the tip of your tongue. And then once it hits mid palate, the finish is not creamy at all. And it completely changes like in your mouth while you're having this pour. It just like the front end of this is way different than the back end. It's like the front end is like a minivan and the back end is like a pickup truck. And I say that because, minivan, nice, comfortable cruiser, you're going to have a long trip with it. And then, the whole back end of a pickup truck is rough and a little bit, beat up. And I think that's kind of, but it wasn't off. Like it wasn't hot. It just changes. It's like all that creaminess that you expect to kind of envelop your mouth just goes away.
Well, I wonder too, are these the same batch, just proof down, or could they be different blends?
It's a great question. Now, it is bottled at Bardstown Bourbon Company, so I wonder if there's a little bit of Bardstown juice in here with the MGP. Is that what it is, or is it something else? I mean, I know it's bottled there. It's 36% rye from Kentucky and Indiana. The crazy thing on both of these, like I'm not getting 36% rye on these pours.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, there have been plenty of MGP that were high rye that were sweeter than a low rye for the same, age roughly and the same type of barrel roughly. I mean, you could say, here's 2 6-year whiskeys from Indiana. One's low rye, one's high rye. And more times than not, I've had the high rye come off sweeter. Just kind of is what it is for whatever reason. But I just wonder if these were the same exact batch and, part of it got proofed down, part of it didn't. Or if these just happen to be, here's rendition number 2 of our 100 proof small batch. And then also here's rendition number 2 of our cask strength small batch. Because it is kind of odd. And I think that would be where people would have the most fun if they had both of these bottles, especially if they are the same. As much as people love proof these days, I mean, Christ, have one next to the other. I really think the 100 proofer is the more complete pour here. So the one that jumps up and down about a proof, well, here's a perfect example of sometimes water is better. Who knows? No, there's no absolutes.
Which is really funny, and I need to find it because I know Fred Minnick put this. Oh, he put the batch 1. So number 72 of his top 100 whiskeys was 122.6 proof batch 1. Now, what I will say is that shows up as $115 on Fred Minnick's list for batch 1. So I'm wondering if the price is about the same. This kind of comes down to like what we said about, he put K.LUKE batch 2, 119.1 proof at 24. I like batch 2. I like, and I like the high proof. Don't get me wrong. I do like the barrel strength, but I kind of feel like this is what we think about New Riff. Almost kind of what we think about Old Foe too. Like when we do an Old Foe pick or we do a New Riff pick and we're just kind of like, hey, can we get this at 100 proof? Like I literally reached out to New Riff and said, hey, we want to do a pick, but can we do it at 100 proof? Obviously, they weren't doing that. But I mean, I kind of feel like the same with this, that I like them. I think they're both very good whiskeys. But if you put both of these next to me, the 100 proof kind of just has the all around package where, I'm not going to be a proof chaser and just go for that 119 proof because it's there.
Well, yeah. And before you even factor in the wallet, assumably 100 proofer should be cheaper. All right. Well, I already like this one better to begin with. Odds are it's 15 or 20 bucks less, maybe more. I don't know. But it's just another win category for me, not a compromise even. Like, well, I was going to pick that one to begin with, but when you tell me it's cheaper, now I'm definitely going to take that one.
Oh, I mean, I totally agree. And it's not that it's bad. Don't get it twisted. The barrel proof is good. I just think the small batch blend is better.
Like I say, whatever happens to this 119 1 proof in the mid, it just goes full ghost almost. Like I don't know how it does it, but because there's so much flavor right on the tip of your tongue, but then in the mid, it just kind of like, oof.
Oh, 100. The beginning of it completely just makes you think like, man, if that beginning would stay present the whole way through, I'd 100% be on that 119. But the 100 proof does what that 119 doesn't, where it actually kind of it's a complete pour. And it, like I said, it's very, very, very balanced. So anyways, Jonathan, thank you so much for sending us these to try. And good luck on your Tennessee release this week. And everybody in Tennessee, go ahead and check it out. If you're not in Tennessee, go online, try to find some K.LUKE. It's good stuff. Jonathan has been killing it with some barrel picks, so it's great to see him actually getting in a brand and getting something for himself. So congrats to Jonathan and the folks at Maisano's. Zeke, anything you want to say?
Cheers.
Go ahead and find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Please leave us an open and honest review, just like we leave an open and honest review about the whiskey we drink. Zeke, where else can the folks find us?
Good old Nashville, Tennessee.
Cheers.
Ciao.